You will not believe the audacity of my HOA president, who will just call Karen. This woman tried to sell my private lake, yes, my lake, for $500,000 right from under my nose. Buckle up, because this story is a wild ride of entitlement, karma, and sweet, sweet justice. So, a little backstory. I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, and my property is the only one with direct access to a gorgeous, secluded lake. It's my little slice of paradise, my private property, clearly marked and fenced. The HOA has a community pool and a park, but the lake has always been mine. The deed, the property lines, everything proves it. 4 years, things were fine. Neighbors were respectful, and I'd occasionally let friends from the community fish or kayak, as long as they asked first. Then Karen got elected as the HOA president. Suddenly, my peaceful existence was under attack. It started small. Little notes about the length of my grass near the fence line, complaints about unauthorized gatherings when I had family over for a barbecue. I brushed it off as new president power tripping. Oh, how wrong I was. The first major red flag was a community newsletter. In it, Karen announced a new community lake access initiative. She wrote about reclaiming the lake for all residents to enjoy and hinted at new amenities like a public dock and boat rentals. I was stunned. I immediately emailed her, attaching a copy of my property deed and a map of the lot lines, explaining in no uncertain terms that the lake was private property. Her response was condescending and dismissive. She claimed the original developer intended for the lake to be a community asset and that my fence was an illegal encroachment. She said the HOA's lawyers were looking into it. This was a declaration of war. I hired my own lawyer, who sent her a firm cease and desist letter, warning her against trespassing or making any further false claims about my property. For a few weeks, it was quiet. I thought maybe she'd finally backed down. Then, one Saturday morning, I was enjoying my coffee on my porch when I saw a man in a suit with a clipboard walking around my lake with a group of people. I went out to confront them. The man introduced himself as a real estate developer. He told me he was there to survey the HOA-owned lakefront property for a new luxury condo development. My blood ran cold. He showed me a prospectus, and my jaw hit the floor. There it was, in glossy print. The Lakeside Villas, a multi-million-dollar project. And the sale price for the land, my land was listed at $500,000. The seller, the Homeowners Association, represented by none other than Karen. She was actively trying to sell my property without my knowledge. The developer was just as shocked as I was when I showed him my documents. He apologized profusely and left immediately. I was shaking with rage. This wasn't just a misunderstanding anymore. This was attempted grand theft. I called my lawyer, who advised me on the next steps. The first thing I did was upgrade my security. I installed new, higher quality locks on my gate and put up more prominent private property, no trespassing signs every 20 feet along the fence. I also set up a couple of high-definition security cameras covering the entrance and the lakefront. The very next weekend, the chaos truly erupted. I was out running errands when I got a notification on my phone from my security camera. I pulled up the live feed and couldn't believe my eyes. Karen was at my gate with a pair of bolt cutters, trying to break the new lock. Behind her was a line of cars full of people in swimsuits, holding coolers and floaties. She had organized a community lake day and was trying to force her way in. I immediately called the police. I told the dispatcher that someone was actively breaking into my property and that I had it all on video. I raced home, my heart pounding. By the time I got there, 2 police cars were already on the scene. The officers were talking to a flustered Karen, who was trying to play the victim. She was waving her hands, claiming I was illegally hoarding a community resource. I calmly walked up, phone in hand. and showed the senior officer the live footage of Karen with the bolt cutters. I then showed them the recorded video of her earlier attempt to sell my land to the developer. The officer's expression went from neutral to serious in a heartbeat. He turned to Karen and asked her if she had any proof that the HOA owned the lake. Of course. She had nothing but her own sense of entitlement. The whole time, the crowd of people she had invited were watching, confused. Some started grumbling, realizing they'd been duped. The officer didn't waste any more time. He informed Karen that she was under arrest for attempted breaking and entering, destruction of property, and that I would be pressing further charges for the fraudulent attempt to sell my land. Watching them put her in handcuffs was one of the most satisfying moments of my life. Her face was a mixture of shock and pure rage. She was screaming about how unfair it was, how she was just trying to do something good for the community. The other officer calmly explained to the assembled crowd that they were on private property and needed to leave immediately or they, too, would be cited for trespassing. They scattered like cockroaches. The aftermath was a legal firestorm. I pursued charges to the fullest extent of the law. The HOA was thrown into turmoil and quickly held an emergency election to remove Karen from her position, not that she could have served from jail. The developer I'd spoken to was more than happy to provide a statement, and my security footage was the nail in her coffin. Karen ended up facing serious charges, including fraud. The HOA was forced to issue a public apology and pay for the damages to my gate and legal fees. The whole ordeal was stressful, but it reinforced a valuable lesson. Stand your ground. Don't let bullies, even ones with an HOA title, walk all over you. My little piece of paradise is no more secure than ever. And the neighborhood is a lot more peaceful without a Karen trying to sell off things that don't belong to her. Thanks for listening to my crazy story. If you've ever had a wild HOA encounter, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tales of justice being served. See you next time.